Hey dev friends, today we're going to take a look at Voxel World so that you know how to set up a block-like level. We're going to start by creating a brand new scene and work from an empty template. And the first thing you want to do is save it somewhere in your project. Once you have it saved, go ahead and click on this config button. And we're going to add this project to your config. You do that by adding a new element, clicking, and then searching for your level, my voxel level. What this does is say that when we publish to Airship later, we want to include this level in the build, this scene. Okay, as you can see, there's nothing in the level yet, and you can't see anything in the game view. So the first thing we're going to do is use Airship's built-in camera system. We'll do that by adding the camera rig prefab. Just going to drag it into the scene. Now you can see something in the game view. And I'm going to make a new object to hold the game logic. And let's just use the character config setup, which has an easy way to set up the defaults for Airship. I'm also going to create a cube so that we have a floor to stand on. Going to zero it out. And one last thing I want to do on the game logic is I'm going to add a spawner, which is just a class that says, hey, whenever a player joins, let's make a character for them. Go ahead and save that, and hit play to make sure that it runs. Mine didn't here, and I'm going to take a look at why. My camera came in with some changes, so I'm just going to hit revert all so that it uses the default prefab settings on the camera. Let's try that one more time. There we go. I'm here, I spawned falling, and that's because my game logic is a random place, so the character spawner is spawning me in this position. So let's go 0, 1, 0 to put it above the cube, and we should spawn on top of the cube. There we go. Alright, we have our level working. Now, how do we add a voxel world? It's really easy. In your hierarchy, right-click, Airship, Voxel World. This will generate two objects for you, a voxel blocks and a voxel world. I'm going to name this something, level 1. Great. And you can see it actually spawned in with one block already there. It is worth noting that Airship cubes, Unity cubes, their origin is the very middle of the block. So if you set it to 0, it will be exactly centered on the 0 point. Voxel World is a little different. The pivot point is on the corner of blocks. And so 0, 0, 0 will spawn a cube aligned to the grid. Alright, if we click Voxel World, you'll see that there's a few options here. If you want a starting point, you can generate a sine wave world, which looks like this. A flat world, if you just want a floor plane. Or an empty world, which will just have one cube. To save any of your changes to the voxel world, you will have to create a file that will exist in your project. So just hit create new, my voxel world. I'm going to save it next to my scene. You can save it anywhere though. Now this file is saved in your project. So you can see here, my voxel world. I'm going to reload it just so the material's regenerated. And let's go ahead and open the editor. The editor is a custom window of tools that you can use for Voxel World. I'm going to place that here for convenience. You'll see there's 3 different block types here. Air, which is empty, dirt, which is what this block is, and grass. Let's go ahead and place some grass blocks. I'm just going to do that by clicking in the world. You can see on the left panel here, there are some extra tools If I am not selected on my Voxel World, we have the standard Unity tools. If I click on the Voxel World, I get these additional tools. If you are off of the Voxel World and you want to quickly get to it, the Voxel editor does have a button that lets you select it right away. The two tools we're going to use are the Voxel tool and the selection tool. The Voxel tool lets you draw voxels into the scene. You can click on a point to add a cube, and you can hold Shift and click to remove a cube. If you want to do a different block type, you just select it in the Voxel editor. And whenever you're ready to save, make sure you're clicked on your Voxel World and hit save. There is a bug as of now that when you save, the materials go away. You can just reload the block atlas if you want to do it that way, or hit load. Both will regenerate the materials. And when you play, the materials will work fine. Now that we have this Voxel World, we actually don't need this floor we made, so I'm going to delete that. And let's see what happens when we play now. There you go. By default, you'll be able to walk and interact with this Voxel World. More than likely, you will want more than just 2 block types. So I'm going to show you how to load in the blocks that we use at Airship and are used in Bed Wars 2. If you go up to Airship Packages, this is where you can load additional packages for your project. To add a new project, there's this Add Package dropdown, and then you type in the ID of the package. If you type @easy/Voxel World, this is our additional Voxel World block definitions. So if you click on the Add Package button, it will download. I've already downloaded it now, so you can see it here. You can always update to the newest project or move it if you want. When that's done, being added to your project, you can now see it in Airship Packages, Easy, Voxel World. This Voxel World project has a bunch of different block resources as well as a block definition. So how do we use them in this Voxel World? Well, this other, just imported all the assets. This other game object that was generated holds all of your block definitions, which is what defines what each block type looks like. The default one is what defines the dirt and the grass, and we're going to add on this new Voxel World. You can see here, Easy Voxel Blocks. We're going to include that in the block definition list and reload it so that our Voxel World imports those. And now if I go to my Voxel editor, you see I have way more options. So I'm going to click my Voxel tool. I'm going to select Castle Floor. And just like that, I suddenly have way more options for my game. So if you want to build out a level with Voxel World, that is all you need to be able to create. Another tool that is helpful is the selection tool, which lets you select and modify multiple blocks in one go. You can do things like copy and pasting, filling a volume with your selected item. If you are placing different material types and you can't remember what this block type was, we do have some information inside the Voxel editor so that if you are highlighting over a block, you'll actually see the type here. So this is a castle floor, this is rock, this is dirt. There are more advanced options like adding prefab block types, adding corner blocks that dynamically changed based on what's around them. But we will go into that another day. Briefly, I'd like to show you how to interact with the Voxel World through code. So I have created a script that you can use. I'll include it in the description. You just go to Game Logic, add Airship component, and add write Voxel World. And I'm going to drag in my reference of the Voxel World to this variable. And by default, it's going to use the Voxel World package that we added, and it's going to let us draw marble blocks. If I hit play now, every time that I hit F, a marble block will spawn wherever the direction I'm looking at. Taking a look at the code for that, I'm just going to double click Write Voxel World, and that'll open it up in my editor. You can see I made a class that extends airship behavior, so we can add it to an object. We have some variables, the reference here, the block type. I also have some private variables just to quickly access transform information. So when this script runs, it's going to listen to character spawning. If it's my local character, we're going to grab the transforms of the characters that we need. And I'm also going to listen to the on-down event of an action. So this is the interact action, which by default is F. Whenever that is pressed down, we are going to write a voxel at the position of the character, plus the look direction of the camera, plus a manual offset. We're going to use the block of this type, the one that we defined up here. And I'm going to do get block ID from string ID. This is just so that we can write it out as text and have it be converted into a number ID that the Voxel World will use. So this .world, again, is the Voxel World that we created in our scene. And we're grabbing the block definitions of this world and getting the ID for it. And we're passing that in to write voxel at. You can see here, write voxel at takes a position, the position you want to write, and a number, which is the ID of the block type. Priority just says, do you need to regenerate the mesh right away, or can it do it in the next pass? So we're passing false here, because it doesn't need to be this frame. And then we clean up our bin. We can go into more advanced features of Voxel World another time, but hopefully this helps you set up your project to use Voxel World. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to comment or join us in the Discord channel. See you later, friends.